I've got another bike review for you, and this time it is the Tenways CG600PRO. This is a very lightweight commuter style bike. It's not the typical kind of e-bike that I would review, but I have to say, at first glance, I really like it. Some bikes just look impressive when they come out of the box, and for me, this was one of those. The paint is really good. The frame is very seamless all around. The fork is really nice. Just the fit and finish overall makes it look like a quality bike. And they do actually refer to this as a premium bike. And from what I've seen, I would have to agree so far. There are some specs that may not sound that impressive, like the fact that this is only a 250 watt motor, or that this is a rather small 36 volt 10 amp hour battery. But in this case, that's okay, because they were going for a lightweight commuter bike. And this thing rides like a bicycle. In fact, if we step back to about here, it's pretty hard to tell that it's even an e-bike. The bike with the battery installed only weighs 35 pounds, which makes it really manageable. You could pick this thing up, you could carry it upstairs. I'm sure at some point in my life, I have had non-electric bikes that weighed more than this. The headlight is really nicely integrated right into the front of the frame. It's got adjustable handlebars, a very nice slim display over here on the left-hand side, small bell. And one of the things that impressed me is that normally when you go with a lightweight bike like this, you have either mechanical disc brakes, or sometimes you still find some V-style brakes on the rims. But no, they went for Tektro hydraulic brakes. They are running rather small rotors at 160 millimeters, but I think in this case that is more than sufficient. This is a city bike. This is not designed for long, crazy downhills, off-road, and there's not a lot of weight behind the bike that you need to stop. They also did not skimp on the pedal assist, because right here we see another bike with a bottom bracket torque sensor. I'm really happy about that. That to me just makes this a better bike. If this was a cadence sensor, I'm not sure I'd like the ride as much as I do. Now, I haven't ridden it a whole lot. I'm gonna take it for a spin kind of around the block, up and down some mild hills, and see how does this really work. And also one thing that is kind of remains to be seen is how well can I ride it, because this is a pedal assist only bike. There is no throttle. So I'm gonna be relying entirely on the 3 pedal assist settings and the torque sensor to get me around. And both a plus and a minus is the drive system, because it is a single speed. I won't be able to shift this into a nice low gear to climb the hills, or shift up into a high gear to go really fast. But this is a quality setup. This is a Gates carbon belt drive they have on here. So this means you don't have to lubricate this. It should last for thousands of miles with little to no maintenance. The bike comes standard with the fenders that you see on here. And of course there are mounting points for a rear rack. One thing that probably is missing, I would say, would be a couple of bosses right here for a water bottle holder. I don't know why it doesn't have that, but you can buy clamp-on ones that would fit real easily right there. Maybe that's something they'll add in the future. There are a couple of other models. There is the CG600, which has a slightly smaller battery, if you can believe that, but weighs a couple of pounds less. And then they also have a CG800 if you're looking for a slight variation of a very good commuter style bike. Now, this company is brand new to me, other than the fact that they sent the bike to me for review. I have no official affiliation with them, so these are my real opinions. I get to say whatever I want. And so far, like I said, I like the bike. This looks like some good quality parts that are all put together. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention is the tires. They said these are actually puncture proof. I guess we can always run over some thorns and find out. All right, so I'm getting started with pedal assist 0. You can see that it is geared fairly high with the single speed setup, which makes perfect sense. I think most people on a bike like this are gonna be comfortable pedaling around 10, 15 miles an hour. I don't know if I can get up to that speed. Let's give it a few more pedal strokes and find out. Whew. So a good pedaling cadence is right around 11, 12 miles an hour, I think, or a little bit quicker. Let's put pedal assist 1. There are only 3 assist levels, but remember this is a torque sensor, so you have some variance in between each one, depending on how hard you're pedaling. And I think not having a throttle is probably the right choice when you have a 250 watt bike. Otherwise you would just drain the power down too fast. So I'm cruising along fairly easily, 13 miles an hour. Getting a workout in. Let's crank it up to assist 2. Pedal assist 2 feels so much better for me. I think if I was in better shape, I could do 1 all the time. Maybe even, I'd probably even turn it down to 0 if I was going down any sort of decline, even flat ground. The bike handles nicely. I haven't ridden anything like this in quite a long time. The maneuverability feels good. You guys see me on mountain bikes, fat bikes, and that's the stuff that I really enjoy and have fun with. What you probably don't know is that I did spend many, many miles on road bikes as a teenager. I always liked the feeling of giving a bike a few firm pedal strokes and it just launches under your own power. That always felt really good. Can we do a track stand on this? Yeah, it balances good. One thing you're not gonna get on a bike like this is a lot of comfort. There is no suspension. The tires are fairly stiff, but that's the nature of a road bike. Whew. That felt pretty good. I'm not gonna go down that hill because I don't want to come back up it. That's where I draw the line. See how fast we can get pedaling. I'm doing about 23, 24. So I think the comfortable range, cadence-wise, is somewhere between about 10 and 20 miles an hour. Below that, you're really cranking pretty hard, or you're standing up on the pedals. Above that, you're having to spin really quite fast. But that's the price you're gonna pay for having a drivetrain that, like I said, should last you thousands of miles with no maintenance. I didn't even mention one of my favorite features about the bike. I did mention that it has a nice, clean design and it looks like it's really well made. But check this out right here. You don't even have any exposed cables all along the frame, all the way to the back. Aside from the front brake, all of the cables go right into the headset area and run internally. Now that might be a nightmare if you ever have to work on the bike or replace things, but it keeps everything inside well protected. And I think that's more important for this bike because I think they're expecting that you're gonna be riding this all the time, no matter the weather. It even took me a minute to find the motor cable. I was like, where is it? There's the brake cable. It's clearly not on that side.
So I could clearly not choose the wine in front of you. Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
But it is very neatly tucked in right here. this frame has a channel going right through it just for that motor cable to go back, and you can see it tucked in right there. That is really well done. Interesting rotor design. I honestly don't know if that's a standard hole pattern. That could be an issue. If it's not, I imagine it probably is, and I just don't know what it is. You can see the horizontal kind of dropouts, if you will, here. It's kind of a unique design. You sort of have the dropout here where the motor bolts in, but these can slide back and forth so you can get your belt tension adjusted correctly. Look how smooth that belt movement is. And no grease. Like most bikes, you just hold the up button to turn the headlight on, and there it is. The only thing I'm not sure about with the headlight is how well it illuminates the road. It does seem like it's pointed fairly straight. Normally you'd want them to be pointed down just a little bit so you can kind of see the road surface ahead of you. I'm not sure, because it's not dark enough out yet, how well that's going to work at night. I might have to try that sometime later. Also, just be aware that there is not a tail light integrated into the bike. If there's one thing that I don't know how they missed, because everything else is so nice, it's the fact that there's not a tail light on there. You can buy one, clip one on there, super cheap, Amazon, wherever. So not a big deal, not a deal breaker for me personally. Now let's talk a little bit more about the display. It is tiny, but it is really easy to read. We have the battery percentage right at the top. You can see I'm at 93%, so it's working very efficiently so far. The miles per hour are the biggest gauge right in the middle there. You've got trip distance, your 3-pedal assist levels. Here we can see average speed, max speed, trip distance. It gives you an estimate of your range. So it's assuming, based on how I've ridden the bike so far, that I could go a total of 40 miles. Now that is pretty far on a 360 watt-hour battery. There's not a lot of weight. The tires roll really easy. When you get down to something like this, that's actually probably possible. If you hold down the mode button, then you have some options. You can change units from kilometers to miles per hour. There is an option for a password. Battery, what does that show? Oh, that's cool. So in the advanced settings, it does say state of charge 93%, but it actually says went away. Let's go back to that. I wanted to see that. Battery. Okay, so we have the actual battery voltage. So it's cool that you can actually see that in the menus. And then you have the capacity. I'm not sure if they're basing that off of your last charge cycle, and because I haven't actually done a charge cycle, it doesn't know what that is. I guess I'm gonna have to drain the battery down once, charge it back up, and see what that says. Speed limit is limited to 32 kilometers an hour. We can turn that down. I don't know if there's nothing there, does that mean there's no speed limit? I'm not too worried about testing it because of it being a single speed with no throttle. I really can't get it up much faster than 20 some miles an hour. But this is what I was talking about for the password. When you first turn on the display, you have about 30 seconds to enter in a password. The downside is this bike is so easy to pedal without the motor, they realistically could steal it anyway. Is this bike worth the price of $18.99? And I think that really depends on what kind of bike are you looking for. If you're looking for a mountain bike, no. If you're looking for a fat bike, no. Are you looking for something that's light and is really well made and is going to have super low maintenance? Definitely. Thank you, Tenways, for sending the bike. I really do like it. I hope we can see some more of your bikes in the future. Oh, and if you want to watch another one of my videos, there's another one right over here. This is not a gravel bike, but I'm trying it anyway.